Procrastination is the silent thief of dreams. It doesn't kick down the door of your ambition. It slips in quietly, convincing you there's always more time. It's the whisper in your ear that says tomorrow is just as good as today. And before you know it, days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and opportunities slip through your fingers. What makes procrastination so dangerous is its subtlety. It disguises itself as logic. I'll do it when I feel more prepared. Or it's not urgent right now. It tricks you into believing that waiting is wisdom, when in truth, waiting is often surrender. Procrastination thrives on perfectionism, convincing you that if you can't do it perfectly, you shouldn't do it at all. But perfection is a myth, and procrastination feeds on the lie that waiting will somehow bring it closer to reality. It's not just about the big things either. Procrastination seeps into the small moments, the email you don't send, the book you don't read, the workout you skip. These small delays compound over time, creating a habit of inaction that becomes harder to break. And here's the irony: the longer you wait, the harder it feels to start. But let's go deeper. Procrastination isn't just about laziness or lack of willpower. Often it's rooted in fear of failure, fear of success, or fear of judgment. Starting something means facing the possibility that you might not succeed, that you might stumble or fall short. And so procrastination steps in as a shield, offering temporary comfort while stealing long-term fulfillment. It's important to understand that procrastination doesn't discriminate. It affects the ambitious and the complacent, the dreamers and the doers. It's not a matter of whether you experience it, it's a matter of how you confront it. Negativity is a poison that can infiltrate your thoughts, your words, and your actions. It doesn't announce itself loudly. It creeps in, often disguised as realism or caution. It whispers in your mind, pointing out every possible obstacle, every potential failure, and every reason why something won't work. Over time, it builds a wall between you and the life you want to create. Negativity feeds on fear and thrives in uncertainty. It's easy to be negative when the outcome isn't guaranteed or when challenges feel overwhelming. But negativity isn't just about how you see the world, it's about how you see yourself. It convinces you that your past failures define you, that you're not capable of change, and that your dreams are out of reach. What makes negativity so destructive is that it's contagious. Surround yourself with negative people, and their mindset will seep into your own. It becomes a cycle. Negative thoughts lead to negative actions, which produce negative results, reinforcing the belief that life is against you. But negativity is more than just a mindset, it's a habit. It's the default reaction to difficulty, the reflex to complain instead of finding solutions, and the tendency to focus on what's missing rather than what's possible. It narrows your perspective, blinding you to opportunities and solutions that might be right in front of you. Negativity isn't just a personal battle, it affects your relationships, your work, and your health. It drains your energy and robs you of the ability to appreciate the present moment. It's a heavy burden to carry, and the longer you hold on to it, the harder it is to let go. Complacency is the silent killer of growth. It sneaks in when things are comfortable, whispering, "This is enough. You've done well. Why push further at first? It feels harmless after all. Why not enjoy the fruits of your labor?" But complacency doesn't stay small. It grows, rooting itself in your mindset, turning what was once a burning ambition into a flicker of mediocrity. It's easy to fall into the trap of complacency because it's the path of least resistance. When the urgency fades, so does the hunger. When the challenges aren't immediate, the drive to improve begins to wane. But here's the danger: the moment you stop striving, the moment you stop learning and reaching, you begin to stagnate. And stagnation is the first step toward decline. Complacency isn't just about resting on past successes, it's about losing sight of your potential. It convinces you that where you are is where you're meant to stay, that the effort to move forward isn't worth the reward. But in truth, there is always more to learn, more to achieve, and more ways to grow. It's deceptive because it feels like peace, like satisfaction. But true satisfaction comes not from settling, but from stretching, reaching beyond what you thought was possible. Complacency tells you that staying still is safe, but in reality, the world moves forward with or without you. This habit doesn't only affect individuals, it affects teams, organizations, and even relationships. When you become complacent, you stop investing in what matters most. You take your blessings for granted, assuming they'll last without effort. But nothing great is sustained without continual care and attention. Excuses are the convenient lies we tell ourselves to avoid responsibility. They're easy to create and even easier to believe. They offer a temporary escape, a shield from the discomfort of accountability, but in the long run, they do nothing but hold you back. Every excuse is a step away from growth, a brick in the wall between you and your goals. Excuses come in many forms. Some sound reasonable: I don't have enough time, I don't have the resources, or it's just not the right moment. Others are rooted in fear. What if I fail, or what will people think? Regardless of the form they take, excuses share one thing in common: they keep you stuck. The truth is, life will never hand you the perfect conditions to act. There will always be obstacles, distractions, and reasons to wait. But excuses aren't rooted in external circumstances, they come from within. They're a reflection of your mindset, your fears, and your reluctance to step into the unknown. Excuses also rob you of your power. Every time you blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck, you're giving away control. You're saying, this is out of my hands, when in reality, most things are within your ability to influence, if not control outright. The habit of making excuses trains your mind to focus on limitations instead of possibilities. Excuses are seductive because they let you off the hook. They justify inaction and make you feel okay with staying in your comfort zone. But comfort isn't the goal. Growth, achievement, and fulfillment lie on the other side of effort and accountability. Lack of discipline is the silent saboteur of dreams. It whispers promises of ease and comfort, persuading you to take the path of least resistance. At first, it feels harmless skipping a workout here, delaying a task there. But over time, these small choices compound, creating a gap between where you are and where you want to be. Discipline is the muscle that transforms intentions into actions, and without it, even the best plans remain unfulfilled. It's not enough to set goals or dream big. Achieving them requires consistent effort, often in the face of discomfort and distraction. Lack of discipline is what turns good intentions into missed opportunities, and it thrives on the belief that tomorrow will always be there to fix today's choices. The challenge with discipline is that it's not a one-time decision, it's a daily commitment. It requires you to show up even when you don't feel like it, to push through resistance when quitting seems easier. Lack of discipline feeds on excuses and magnifies procrastination, creating a cycle where inaction becomes the norm. Discipline isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. And the lack of it creates a pattern of starting and stopping, of bursts of energy, followed by long stretches of inactivity. This inconsistency erodes confidence, making every new effort feel harder than the last. It's a habit that not only delays progress, but also drains the belief that progress is even possible. Lack of discipline affects every area of life: your health, your relationships, your career, and your personal growth. It's the reason why goals remain unachieved and potential goes untapped. It creates a gap between your aspirations and your reality, leaving you stuck in a cycle of regret and unfulfilled potential. Fear of failure is one of the most paralyzing habits you must battle every day. It hides behind logic, disguising itself as caution or preparation. It convinces you to hold back, to delay, or to settle for less than what you're capable of. But at its core, fear of failure is rooted in one thing: the desire to avoid pain. Failure hurts. It stings our pride, challenges our sense of competence, and exposes us to criticism. That's why so many choose to play it safe, sticking to what's familiar and predictable. But in avoiding failure, we also avoid the very experiences that lead to growth. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of it. It's the feedback loop that teaches us what doesn't work so we can discover what does. The problem with fear of failure is that it exaggerates the stakes. It makes every decision feel monumental, every misstep feel catastrophic. It keeps you stuck in analysis paralysis, where the fear of making the wrong move leads to making no move at all. And over time, it becomes a habit, a reflex to retreat instead of advance, to stay in your comfort zone instead of reaching for more. Fear of failure doesn't just stop you from starting, it also stops you from finishing. It whispers doubts when you're halfway through a project, convincing you that it's better to abandon it than risk falling short. It feeds on comparison, reminding you of others who seem to have it all figured out, making your own efforts feel insignificant. But the greatest tragedy of fearing failure is the missed opportunities. Every time you let fear win, you close the door on a chance to learn, to grow, and to achieve. It creates a life of what-ifs, and if-onlys where regret becomes the companion of untapped potential. Overindulgence is a subtle but powerful habit that can derail your focus, energy, and progress. It's not just about excess, it's about the choices you make when you're seeking comfort or distraction. Whether it's overindulging in food, entertainment, social media, or even work, it's a way of filling a void temporarily while ignoring the bigger picture. What makes overindulgence so dangerous is that it often feels rewarding in the moment. A binge-watch session, an extra slice of cake, or hours scrolling through your phone might seem harmless, even enjoyable. But over time, these small choices add up, pulling you away from your priorities and creating a sense of imbalance in your life. Overindulgence thrives in moments of stress, boredom, or fatigue. It's a coping mechanism, a way to escape uncomfortable emotions or situations. But instead of solving the root problem, it creates new ones. The extra time spent on distractions means less time for meaningful work. The extra calories lead to health challenges. The unchecked habits steal energy and focus, leaving you less prepared to tackle the day. This habit isn't just about consumption, it's also about avoidance. When you overindulge, you're often avoiding something more important: an uncomfortable conversation, a challenging task, or a step toward your goals. It's a way of numbing yourself to the effort or discipline required to grow. Overindulgence creates a cycle of temporary satisfaction followed by regret. The more you give into it, the harder it becomes to say no. It's a slippery slope that can turn small indulgences into routines, and routines into ruts that are difficult to escape. Blame is a habit that shifts responsibility away from yourself and onto others, circumstances, or even fate. It's an easy escape, a way to avoid the discomfort of accountability. When something goes wrong, blame whispers, "It's not your fault," offering temporary relief from guilt or failure. But in reality, blame robs you of the power to change your situation. Blame is rooted in the fear of facing your own shortcomings. It's easier to point fingers than to look in the mirror. Blame convinces you that the problem lies elsewhere: your boss, your partner, the economy, or bad luck, when often the solution starts with you. Blame doesn't solve problems, it perpetuates them. Every time you blame someone or something else, you reinforce a mindset of helplessness. You train yourself to focus on what's outside of your control rather than what you can influence. Over time, this habit creates a victim mentality, where life feels like something that happens to you, not something you shape. Blame also damages relationships. It creates walls instead of bridges, driving wedges between you and the people around you. When you habitually blame others, you erode trust, accountability, and collaboration. People become defensive, and the focus shifts from solving the problem to protecting themselves. But blame isn't just external, it's internal too. Sometimes you blame yourself so harshly that it paralyzes you. This self-blame can be just as destructive, trapping you in a cycle of shame and self-doubt. Whether directed outward or inward, blame keeps you stuck in the past, replaying what went wrong instead of focusing on what you can do to move forward. Doubt is the silent killer of progress. It creeps into your mind when you're on the verge of taking action, whispering thoughts of uncertainty, insecurity, and hesitation. It tells you that you're not good enough, not prepared enough, or that the risk is too great. While it may seem like a rational response to uncertainty, doubt actually paralyzes you, preventing you from moving forward and realizing your potential. Doubt often appears when you're on the brink of doing something new, something challenging, or something out of your comfort zone. It magnifies the fear of failure and turns small obstacles into mountains. It makes you second-guess your decisions, your abilities, and your worth. And in the face of doubt, even the most confident person can begin to hesitate, stall, or turn back. The danger of doubt is that it's incredibly contagious. If you listen to it long enough, it starts to define your thinking. It becomes a habit, a reflex, a knee-jerk response to every challenge. Instead of charging forward with confidence, you find yourself hesitating, questioning, and overthinking. Doubt convinces you that your dreams are too big, too unrealistic, and that you're not capable of achieving them. Doubt also keeps you from taking risks which are essential for growth. Every success story involves moments of doubt, but the difference between those who succeed and those who remain stagnant is the ability to push past it. Doubt may never fully disappear, but the more you act in spite of it, the quieter it becomes. It's important to recognize that doubt doesn't have to be a barrier. It's a signal that you're on the edge of something significant, that you're pushing yourself beyond what's familiar. The question isn't whether doubt will appear, it's how you respond to it. Will you let it control your actions, or will you take the leap despite it? Living in the past is a habit that holds you hostage to what was, preventing you from fully embracing what is and what could be. It's easy to get stuck in yesterday's victories or defeats, replaying old successes or lingering on past failures. But this constant focus on the past robs you of the present and blocks the potential of the future. The past has a magnetic pull. Whether it's nostalgic memories or lingering regrets, it's comforting to revisit familiar territory. You relive the glory of past achievements, allowing them to define your current self-worth. Or you dwell on past mistakes, letting them become your identity. But the more you live in the past, the less you live in the now. And the future, which is the only place where change can happen, slips further away. Living in the past also creates a barrier to growth. If you're constantly measuring today against yesterday, you miss the lessons that are meant for today. The world is constantly changing, but if you're too focused on what's already been, you stop seeing new opportunities. You get comfortable in nostalgia, and the desire to move forward becomes overshadowed by the fear of losing what was. It's important to honor the past. It shapes who we are. After all, but to live in it is to ignore the infinite possibilities of the present. Every moment spent reliving the past is a moment that could be spent creating something new. This habit also steals your energy. Dwelling on what you can't change, whether it's past mistakes, missed opportunities, or old wounds, keeps you from focusing on what you can change your actions today and the choices you make going forward. By constantly looking back, you miss the new horizon in front of you, and you lose sight of the future you can create.